ก็วันนี้นะครับก็คือจะเป็นเว็บ i นาร์ของคุณโรเบิร์ตฟุกนะครับก็คือเขาจะเป็นคนที่create สร้างโปรแกรม global business นะครับตัว bootcamp อันนี้ขึ้นมานะครับก็เขาก็เป็นอาจารย์ professor นะครับก็จะค่อนข้างชำนาญแล้วก็เชี่ยวชาญทางด้านตัว business หรือว่า economics finance มากๆนะครับก็วันนี้ทางคุณโรเบิร์ตฟุกนะครับก็จะpresent เกี่ยวกับตัว overall ของคอร์สนะครับแล้วก็อาจจะเปิดโอกาสให้เราถาม Q&A นะครับว่าเรามีคำถามหรือว่าสงสัยอะไรบ้างนะครับก็อาจจะเตรียมคำถามไว้ได้เลยนะครับแล้วก็เดี๋ยวให้คุณเวิร์ดเริ่ม start
Okay, now it's perfect time to start the presentation.
Okay. Well, thank you for the introduction, which I understood words like Q&A. I did years ago actually study Thai, but never went further. Maybe I'll have a chance to study it more later. But let's just get underway. I will try to speak in a manner that's generally understandable, but if anyone is not clear about what I'm saying, you can actually raise a hand while I'm presenting. And definitely in Q&A, if there's anything you'd like me to go over again, or you have additional questions beyond what I present on, of course, just feel free. Well, thank you everyone for joining us on a Saturday. We were just talking before the start of this session, and I understand it's very hot right now in Thailand, so I hope everyone's getting through that. But let me switch to some slides I've prepared, and you can have a copy of these if you'd like later. Just talk to the team there. But let me start with that, and I just need to pull up this in a presentation mode, and hopefully that's displaying okay. So my name is Robert Kep. I direct the Asia Pacific Geoeconomics and Business Initiative at Chapman University's Arduous College of Business and Economics. Now, I do need to point out the program I'll be doing in this case will not be part of Arduous College. This is an independent program I'm participating in with the help of my good friends there in Bangkok. But anyway, that's my background. That's where I work full time, and I'm doing this on a separate initiative. But we are at Arduous College and Chapman University very happy to welcome foreign students. I'll say a little bit more about the university and college in a minute, and certainly would encourage any students who take the boot camp to also consider the possibility of applying to Chapman University. We'd very much welcome that. So as the instructor, I already told you a bit about my titles. To mention something about my background. Before working full-time at Chapman, I was the director for The Economist Group, which is a well-known English language business and economics and really politics, geopolitics magazine that circulates around the world. I worked in Hong Kong and Beijing as the head of the corporate network there. So I was like both a senior editor and a chief economist in that role. And I did some things between that and joining Chapman independently, but that was my last kind of full-time corporate position before then joining the faculty at Chapman. I've written some books. I've got the cover of one of those books showing below my photograph, and that's a book called Betting on China that looks at basically financial economic relations between China, the US, and the world. So I've got that kind of background. I've also written books about high technology clustering. The book Clusters of Creativity is an example of that. I myself have a BA in Asian Studies from Pomona College. I was a Truman Scholar and Watson Fellow. Those are scholarships I was able to use in different ways for my education. And then I did an MBA at the University of Cambridge. And although I unfortunately not... I'm sorry, is there a question or? Okay, I'll just continue. Well, I was just going to say in terms of my languages. So I speak and read and write Chinese as well as Japanese. So those are my two Asian languages, and I speak some other languages that aren't worth mentioning because I don't speak enough of those. Okay, and then, oops, make sure my slide. Okay, there we go. So just to say a little bit about the college where I'm at, although we are not as famous as, say, Harvard or Stanford University, we are one of California's oldest universities. So we're about as old as Stanford, but we're smaller. That's one of the things that makes us a little different. We also have our School of Business that was founded in 1974. Whoops, yeah. So our School of Business was founded in 1974, and then there was various donations made by George Argyros. He's a very well-known and very wealthy, very successful property developer here in Orange County. And so he gave donations that made us a college. So within a university, you have institutes, you have schools, and you have colleges. And a college is a very much its own self-sustaining academic unit within a university. So that's a little bit of background about how the college and university were formed. We are ranked, our College of Business and Economics is the #3 best private business school on the West Coast. So that would just put us behind Stanford and USC. So again, not necessarily globally famous, but well ranked in that regard. And we're definitely the top private business school in Orange County, which is next to Los Angeles County and part of larger Los Angeles, what we'd call Greater Los Angeles. And one of the things that distinguishes us is we have a very small student to faculty ratio. So classes tend to be small, and we have a well-known program for delivering education that is very personalized and customized. Students get to really kind of choose how they want to pursue their degrees. So, and just one other thing to point out, this is where we are globally ranked. We have a field of experimental economics that is right up there with the University of Chicago and MIT. So that is one area where we're very strong. We have a number of areas that we stand out in. In our business school, that's our top ranked feature. We have other very strong programs. The program I do, Asia Pacific Geoeconomics and Business, we're trying to make that a kind of nationally ranked, world-leading institution. And then I would also just point out for those of you who are interested in media studies, filmmaking, television, those sorts of creative media pursuits, our college for that, it's called the Dodge College. It is #4 in the United States. So it is also a top 5 program that we have. And we do things with the business school and the film school. Okay, so let's get into the boot camp itself. And I think, by the way, we have someone wanting to go into the waiting, are in the waiting room. I'll maybe I can admit, I just did that. So we're not missing anyone. So our boot camp schedule and topics, this is, and I'm sure you've heard this from our program management colleagues in Bangkok, but this will be running from the 1st to the 5th of July. So we have it as 1 week, and you see there the schedule Monday through Friday. And the basic thinking about this is to have this be very intensive, but at the same time, not too exhausting and very informative, and that anyone who participates in this can really come away with a new understanding about global business. And if you'd like to pursue some sort of business studies in university, and even if you end up going to, say, do an engineering degree or some other degree, like I said, film, for example, I have a number of film students in my MBA classes who want to know the business side. They're going to be producers and directors and those things, but they want to learn about the business side of being in their industry. So anyway, this is that kind of a program where it would really be helpful if you want to study business, if you want to do something in business, or just get the experience of being exposed to global business. And you can see what we have here is throughout the week, we start with a lecture and some self-introductions, and we're going to look at marketing. Marketing is probably the easiest aspect of business, I think, to understand. It's all about communications and promotions. And then we will have a marketing case series of discussions. So it's really various small cases that we will talk about. So I will give the students an opportunity to see a short video that is itself basically a marketing case, and then we'll talk about it. So you don't have to prepare anything. In fact, during this session, you do not have to be doing a lot of homework. You will do some work in teams, but you can do that while we're going through the class sessions. And if you want to continue to work on what I do at the end of each day, the simulation practice beyond the time we allocate, that's fine too. So basically what we'll do, just starting with Monday, is I will come in, we will get to know each other. I'll start my lecture, we'll break for lunch, we'll come back. I'll do some cases probably in the morning as well, but then we'll really just have that afternoon period, the first half, to discuss cases. And I think you'll find those fun and informative. And again, you don't have to study anything beforehand. I'll present the material. It'll be in a video format, and we'll talk about it together. And then you will start, the students who are participating, the global business simulation. And you will be given material on that before the start of this boot camp, and you can familiarize yourself with it. Again, there's no homework, but it would probably be helpful to familiarize yourself, and you can practice it. It's actually a game. So I think students who do it find it both challenging and a lot of fun. But we'll give you time to work on that in class, and I'll be there to help answer any questions too. But it should be that when you come in, you already have the materials. It's pretty easy to follow, and you'll just start doing this working in teams. And then when you do that in teams, it's basically you're discussing and you're figuring out your strategy and how you want to answer the tasks that you have for the simulation. But anyway, we give you time for that. So then you can just do that all during the boot camp. Again, if you want to continue to talk about it after the time that's allocated, that's also okay. But we'd have everything due by midnight that evening. So you couldn't go beyond midnight each day. And then the following day, we have a company visit. I'll tell you more about that, but that's the sort of practical side of this. So we're not only in the classroom, we're actually visiting companies. And then we'll come back, and in the afternoon, we'll talk about global trade. We have another fascinating aspect of global business, very controversial, something that Thailand is very much involved in. And then we'll have the second round for the simulation. Then on Wednesday, we'll talk about global management. Again, have our lunch break, and then we'll talk about global finance. So really, again, just we're looking at all these different dimensions of global business as we go through the week. Again, the simulation, we'll have another company visit on the morning of Thursday. Come back, we'll then talk about global technology and innovation. I think that's something everyone's interested in. So yeah, we will cover things like AI and social media and how to be creative with those things, and also how to be careful about those things, because they pose both opportunities and risks. Then again, the simulation. And then on our last day, we'll talk about global economics. I think that's an area that a lot of people are at least curious about. And so we'll have that session in the morning. Then finally, our last class session will be where we discuss global ESG. That stands for Environment, Society, Governance. So that's a very popular topic, a very important topic. It deals with how to better protect the environment, how to have companies that demonstrate more social responsibility, and also give more back to their investors by being well managed and actually having more transparency than was previously the case. So that'll be our final set of case discussions and kind of lecture-based material. And then in that final round of the global business simulation, all the students will complete the work before we finish the day at 4 p.m. And we'll actually award. We don't have money or anything like that. We might work out some sort of small gifts or something. But anyway, each of the teams will be recognized for their performance. And even if you come in last in the simulation, doesn't mean you failed the course or anything. There aren't any grades that I plan to give out unless our program organizer decides to do that. But you will know that you went through the simulation, and even again, if you came in last place, you would have learned a lot. But we will at least recognize how the team scored. So I think keeping that competitive element makes it interesting. Okay, so I'm just going to go through a few more things here. This is just giving you a little bit of information about the simulation. The simulation is called New Shoes. It's about marketing. And I think I can't imagine any student anywhere in the world not familiar with Nike and Adidas and Reebok and those sorts of brands. So you'll have a chance to find out what it's like to actually run marketing for a global shoe company. So I think that's something all the students who will participate will relate to. It's done in teams, so you don't have to feel like there's a lot of pressure on you as an individual student. You get to work through this in a group. So it's simulating actual global business decision-making processes. That'll be very helpful. Again, even if you don't study business later in university, that will give you a lot of help in understanding what it's like to work in a company and do these things. You participate with teams, as I said. You'll definitely see that what the simulation does goes over some of the principles and the models we discuss in class. It helps you apply business theory to the real world. And it's definitely fun, but also challenging. So you learn, but it's an enjoyable way to learn. So I just wanted to highlight here, our first company visit is going to be at Jim Thompson. And this isn't just going there and like, seeing the facilities. You're going to have a presentation and have a chance to meet directly with Frank Cancelloni. He's a good friend of mine. I've worked with him before when we were both based in Hong Kong, actually. And he is the group CEO of the Thai Silk Company, which owns Jim Thompson. So Frank's done a great job of organizing the morning for us to visit on day 2, where we'll hear from him. We're also going to have discussions from the head of human resources. So if anyone would like to join, say, Jim Thompson, that would be a good way to start that conversation. By the way, Frank, he used to run Calvin Klein, Tommy Hilfiger in Asia, and Lacoste. So he's been very active in the fashion industry throughout East Asia. So anyone interested in a fashion career, Frank and his team there at Jim Thompson will be definitely good to know. We'll also get a private tour, our own private tour of Jim Thompson House, which is a museum, but it also relates to the company and its products. And you're going to have a chance to learn from the leadership of one of Thailand's most famous global brands. So, I mean, I think that's the real, in a nutshell, the unique opportunity that's part of the program and takes us, like I mentioned before, outside of the classroom. So the learning outcomes, what you can expect to gain from this boot camp. This isn't everything, but these are the things I would highlight. So one is you learn about, and hopefully we'll find some stimulation for your personal interest in global business. You'll be able to prepare mentally and academically for coursework in Western universities. So whether it's the US or Australia, Britain, or even for that matter, Japan, where I also lecture and teach at university, the expectation is for you to be able to work in a team environment if you're doing especially something related to business studies, and to think critically and be able to defend your answers, those sorts of things. And so that's the kind of exposure you'll get. Even though we're talking about business, it applies to other subjects. So the other part of this, of course, is you are learning practical skills for an international career. So regardless of what you want to do, having the chance to work with either a global company in Thailand or go outside of Thailand and work in other countries, this will be good preparation for that. And the overall objective that I would like to think everyone can take away from this is you'll develop abilities in critical thinking and creativity. So this isn't going to be a course where you just memorize something and say it back. You're going to have to be thinking as you go through it. And that's increasingly important. AI and advanced technology is dominating a lot of what we do, not just in business and in life. And the people who are going to do best in that environment are those who can think critically, come up with new applications for things. And anyone who isn't will be replaced by robots and algorithms. I don't mean totally replaced, but those sorts of basic jobs where you don't have to do a lot of thinking are going away. So the people who will do the best are those who are creative thinkers. And that's one thing we'll emphasize throughout the course. Okay, so that ends my presentation. I thank you for your time. I hope that wasn't too much or too fast, but gentlemen, if there are any questions or other points I should cover, just let me know.
ไม่ใช่มีคำถามอะไรไหมครับ
By the way, people are free to ask anything. I mean, it can be beyond what I presented on. If you have other questions about what we're doing, anything at all.
I think that the majority of the students who joining us today, like they're planning to study the business as a major in the university. What
Right.
about if they do not taking the business as a major in the university? Is this course recommended for them?
Yes, absolutely. Because like I said, global business affects everyone, right? So even if you want to do, say, sciences or engineering, you're going to likely, unless you go into pure academic research, which is also fine, and I have friends who do that. But if you want to work for, a high-tech company, let's say you want to go work for Google, now called Alphabet, or Facebook, Meta, for example, I'll actually the true story. My son now works for Meta. He actually works for Meta in AI or Facebook. He works with the Facebook division of Meta. But he studied engineering, but he is constantly having to deal with business matters because even as an engineer, he has to think about what's going on in the world of business. So that's just an example. You don't have to want to just be a business studies major for this to be useful. As I mentioned in my MBA classes, we have some students from our film school, and they're going to go on to be producers or directors, but they know if they're going to go out and raise money for their films or use money that comes to support their films, they need to understand business as well. So this is definitely something that, regardless of what you're interested in doing, I think would be helpful. And being someone who is active in business, and I also do other things, but obviously, if you want to do business studies, it's even more relevant. It directly applies to that. But certainly, it doesn't matter what you want to study. This is just, I would say, good exposure to the global economy and how it works. I noticed we've got, it looks like someone in the chat there.
Yeah.
How many students per class? Team, do you want to answer that?
Me, 20 students for the maximum that we think is gonna be no more than that.
But maybe just to also mention, because I don't know if that question relates to the teams. So typically our team sizes are going to be like 3 to 5 students max. So, it depends. I'll talk to our friends there in Bangkok about how we want to organize that. But let's say we have 20 students, then we might have 4 teams of 5 students per team for the simulation, or we might do something like 3 teams of about 7 teams with 3 students in it. So it's all a matter, but it would be between 3 to 5 students per team, put it that way. And that's nice because it keeps it not too big in the team discussions, but then you get more than one opinion. So it teaches you real teamwork, but they will be small teams in any case.
There will be more focus.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Anyone have more questions? If anyone do not have any question, I think now it's time. How do you think about that? Or anyone have a question, just send it to us, and then we're gonna let you know later, and then
That's also fine. Yeah, if this is enough information for now, that's fine. What I would suggest is I've sent a copy of my slides over, so you can share that with everyone who joined if they like. And then indeed, they can follow up with you after this session with any questions. And if there are still more things for me to answer, send me an email, or we can even do another Zoom session sometime. And then you've recorded this, so do feel free to share. I think I made another recording earlier. If that helps, use that. But I'm very excited about the opportunity to do the class. And I hope to see everyone who's joined us today in July when we do it. I think you'll get a lot out of it. But even if you didn't ask a question today, if something comes up that you'd like to ask later, that's fine too.
Now actually we got like 5 students who already applied for the course. Like we're gonna hopefully they're gonna have more.
Okay. Yeah. Right. No, absolutely. That's fine.
Now it's time to end the presentation.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm so I can just sign off then. I've already stopped the presentation.
ใช่ยังไงครับทุกคนไม่มีคำถามอะไรแล้วเดี๋ยวผมขอจบเว็บบินาร์ของวันนี้เท่านี้นะครับ
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Kopran Krap. And again, I look forward to seeing everyone in July.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody.